Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo.
On this episode of the History of the Course podcast with Curtis and Josh, we take a look at the band from Raleigh, North Carolina, known as Prayer for Cleansing. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at ItSurviveByPro for news and latest episode postings. And make sure to subscribe to the show, leave us a 5-star review, and write us a comment on YouTube or whatever podcast service you're using. And if you'd like to see us do some live streams, leave us a comment or tweet us the keyword stream. Now, without further ado, let's start the show.
The devil is in Atlanta. Army surrounded.
A whisper in my ear takes hold my deepest fear. The tune beckons my name. Tss. For once the cut is made, a slice of cold steel blade, air and ground feel not the same. He's a poet, and he just doesn't even know it, Josh. Welcome back to the History of the Chorus podcast, sponsored by the Church of the Seventh Track, where each and every episode we take a look at the history of a band from the core genre. I'm Curtis, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Josh. Party on, Josh.
Party on, Curtis.
How's it going? What's going on, buddy?
Wing. Good. How are you? What's up? What's going on?
Oh, not much, dude. Just another day, another episode of a podcast that we do. Speaking of podcasts, Josh, we had our season 2 recap episode of Throne of the Dragon podcast come out this past week. If you're not familiar, well, here's a little preview for you right here, right now. Yeah, which it's funny too, because I remember at the very beginning of the season, after episode 1, you talked about, you kind of compared him to Viserys, Daenerys's brother, and
Yeah.
kind of that times where it's like he's kind of got like you can't like really take him too serious, you know? He just kind of like, all right, this guy's just a joke.
Right.
He means no harm.
Sometimes it's too easy of a comparison because they have like the same haircut.
I was gonna say, because they're blonde hair.
They kind of look the same.
Yeah.
But there are moments when he's talking where it's like, oh, this is like I'm listening to Viserys, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I wonder if that was intentional. I wonder if he had watched, you know,
Probably.
God, what is that guy's name? Is it
That played Viserys.
Tom Hiddleston? Yeah.
Was that Tom? No way.
No, maybe not. Maybe not.
I was gonna say, there's no way that's Tom Hiddleston.
I'm probably just throwing the wrong name at this.
No, you kind of look like him a little bit, but I know that's not Tom Hiddleston. Because I think at the same time, Tom Hiddleston's like really tall. I don't think Viserys was that tall. The uncool Viserys. We all know who the cool Viserys is, of old Patty Constantine. But yeah,
Oh no, it's Harry Lloyd.
terrible name. Yep, there it is. Season 2 recap episode. Make sure to check out the full episode. Link in the description below. We did our season 2 recap, Josh. Now I want to hear your recap of your time at Sandals Dragonstone.
Well, first, Curtis, I gotta say, this season has just really flown by. I just gone.
Shoo! It's
Just
over.
like that.
When you only have 8 episodes.
Right. It's pretty quiet over here, Curtis, these days, especially post-season. Very quiet over here at Dragonstone. So I'm thinking I might extend my vacation indefinitely, and I might just set up shop out here.
I don't think so. We're gonna need you to telecommunicating is over. Come back to the office, buddy.
Yeah, not coming back.
All right, I think I'll just kick you off the show then. Yeah. Any highlights to the vacation?
Um, no, just the normal stuff, you know. Dragon Beach volleyball. Do it on Dragon back.
Oh yeah, I was about to say, yeah, what does that pertain to? Yeah. Okay. What else you got?
Um,
Did you get a complimentary t-shirt? Anything? Towels? Did you steal the towels and the soap from the resort?
of course, I had to steal the towels and the soap.
Classic. Classic. Yeah, commemorative t-shirt maybe?
I visited Dragonstone and all I got was a shirt.
Nice. I visited the good side, the clean side, the not dark and damp side of Dragonstone. Nice. Yeah, I see all the trees are still up and everything. Everything's good, man. We preserved this side. It's a government owned preserved side of the beach. You can do
I
whatever the
mean,
hell you want over there, but this is private property.
yeah, because the truth is, the resort is good for the local economy here at Dragonstone. And so there's a general understanding here. We got to keep this side nice, you know, fuels the target economy,
Yeah.
and keeps the
Tell,
money moving.
yeah, tell the people you're telling me, tell the people about you're running with you have to take some pictures with some House of the Dragon lookalikes, some Damon impersonators and Rhaenyra impersonators maybe.
Yeah, there was a fat Damon.
Nice.
And then there was I'm pretty sure was a Japanese Rhaenyra,
Oh,
but
okay.
they're out here. It's like the Hollywood Walk, you know, like they're out
No,
here.
my gosh.
It's the strip in
It's
Vegas. They're
it's
here.
the equivalent of Elvis on in Vegas. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, man. Nice. Okay. Well, I know you say you're going to stay, but if we have to send out a SWAT team to bring you back, we will. So you're not going to take me down, please. I think eventually they're probably going to say, "Sir, you really need to leave. You can't stay here anymore."
They're gonna say, sir, your reservation was only for a week and it's been 3 months.
Right, exactly. Come back to the mainland, Josh. Come back to the
I'm
mainland.
hiding in towel closets at night. I'm not even in my room anymore. But
I'm sleeping down here on the beach.
yeah,
Oh boy. Well, don't go sleeping in any caves, Josh. You don't know what dragons might be inhabiting those caves. So yeah, be careful there. You haven't claimed a dragon?
I haven't claimed a dragon. No, not yet.
Oh man, that's one of the it's one of the the things they let you do. You go out and see if you can go claim a dragon. It's
You
like
got
a
to sign a
tour or
lot of
whatever.
paperwork.
Right. It's kind of like those when people go on vacation, like oh, I think it's in Alaska. You can go like rent a boat and go like tuna fishing and like they'll take you to like some really good spots. That's what they're doing. They're like, all right, we think some dragons are over in this area, so we're gonna take you guys out here, and one at a time, go claim yourself a dragon. Yeah.
Yeah.
All righty. Enough beating around the bush there, Josh.
Thank God. I am
Uh,
not an improv guy. Get me
Sandals
out of here.
Dragonstone. Can't wait to see the commercial. Please come up with that one. That'd be nice. Alrighty, Josh. Wait, you said get you out of Dragonstone? I can do
No,
that. I can
get me
go.
out
I
of
can
this
send a helicopter.
situation.
All right, Josh. Today we are taking a look at the band known as Prayer for Cleansing. Have you ever heard of Prayer for Cleansing, Josh?
No.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, they only have one full-length album, so
Yeah.
very unknown. So,
This is like listening to somebody's local band that,
yes.
yeah, got enough money together to put out one album and then it was
Mm.
over.
It was like, all right, we're done. Yep.
They do have
That
more monthly listeners though than the last couple of bands we talked about who are also of a similar shit level. But
Yeah. I wonder how much of that though was like localized though on the East Coast. because they're from Raleigh,
Right.
North Carolina. But I don't know. And it may be a thing too where, yeah, we'll talk about it here in a moment. The music that they produce is categorized in the genres of metalcore, black metal, and death metal. Formed in 1996 by members David Anthem on unclean vocals, Paul Wagner on guitar, Dennis Lamb on guitar, Mark Duncan on bass, and Will Goodyear on drums and clean vocals. Nice. Drummer doing the clean vocals. How rare is that? In their short history, the group would come to be known for their extreme metal influence that was a little more prominent in their music than other metalcore bands at the time. The band was also known, Josh, for their straight edge lifestyle, as well as several members being vegans. Oh, yes, throw out that X. And Josh, a little fun fact for you, and this is where I was going to bring in the point about the monthly listeners. This band features future members of Between the Buried and Me from also Raleigh, North Carolina. So there may be some kind of backtracking on, oh, where these guys come from? Well, you had another band too? Well, let me go check those guys out, you know? So yeah, the band would come in contact with Matthew Rudzinski, who would create the label Tribunal Records and soon after sign the band, paving the way for the group's one and only full-length album, 1999's Rain in the Endless Fall from Tribunal Records, produced by Matthew Rudzinski. It is the only release for bassist Mark Duncan and Dennis Lamb on guitar. Alex Henderson of AllMusic.com wrote in his review of the album, quote, Prayer for Cleansing turned out to be one of death metal / black metal's one album wonders of the late 90s and early 2000s. That is, they recorded only one album before breaking up. Recorded in 1999, Prayer's only album, The Rain and Endless Fall, went out of print after the band's breakup in 2000, but was reissued in 2003 when Tribunal hired engineer Jamie King to remaster and remix the disc. And by that time, former Prayer guitarist Paul Wagner had spent 3 years in Raleigh, North Carolina, between the Buried and Me. So it stood to reason that some of the people who knew Wagner from that outfit would want to hear what his former band sounded like. Stylistically, this release is best described as death / black metal with a dose of hardcore. But even though lead singer David Anthem favors the sort of demonic sounding vocals that death / black metal is known for, Prayer was not promoting the occult. Actually, they had a bit of a straight edge perspective. CD's credit states, quotes, the members of Prayer for Cleansing support a drug-free vegan lifestyle. And that certainly isn't the sort of thing that Satanists would say. Of course, the straight edge movement is a turnoff for some headbangers who argue that they listen to death / black metal to get away from political correctness, not to listen to preachy lectures on the merits of joining PETA. Not wearing leather jackets, or even giving up beer. But Prayer's only album isn't preachy. Reading the lyrics sheet, one has to look closely for the straight edge reference because they are delivered in a very subliminal fashion. The Rain in Endless Fall isn't mind-blowing, but it's generally a generally decent, if uneven, footnote in the history of underground death / black metal. Songs on this album include A Dozen Black Roses. Oh boy. Finbas Gabaloo. Yeah, close enough. Winter's Gloom, A Dead Soul Born, Sonnet, Violent Waves, Destiny of Culture, Chalice of Repentance, Baal Nablath, and Sleep Eternal. All right. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying earlier, Josh, about this sounds. I listened to both versions because there's the original version, the original mix, and the remastered on Spotify. So I listened to both of them, and yeah, the original mix definitely sounds like your local run-of-the-mill local band who just grabbed some money and was able to record an album real quick. But other than that, what did you think of the band's one only album?
It's just really underwhelming. Like
Okay.
through the first few songs, I'm like, do you guys know more than one riff? Like, I just feel like we're playing the same riff over and over, but just slightly different or in a different time. I'm
Right.
like, yeah, this is very 2003. Like, some of these guys probably don't have any business like doing this, you know?
Yeah.
But it's just very,
You gotta start somewhere.
it's very 2003. And it's hard to go back to something like this. I had like a weird thought earlier. I'm sure it's occurred to me before, but like, nostalgia plays such a big factor when you're going back to old music because it's evolving like everything else, you know?
Yeah.
How can you go back and truly how could your favorite experience be going back to playing a Nintendo, you know, when you have a super high powered gaming PC? You know what I'm saying? Like it's yeah,
Nostalgia.
there's going to be some nostalgia and love for it, but I think that powers so much of it because especially us going back to a lot of like early 2000s bands who nobody knew about, who only did one or two albums. It's like, yeah, these guys would never survive today. You know, you throw out a first album like this, and it's like, no, that's not going to go anywhere today because the genre has evolved so much.
Well, yeah.
Like, this
Yeah,
is,
you'd have to put out something different now, for
yeah,
sure.
this is the creation of fire and the wheel here. And now we're driving around in, you know, a fucking Ferrari. So it's, they're
No, 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 no.
very,
The Tesla boxcar, Josh.
they're very different.
Oh my God.
Um, and it's hard to go back to a band like this if you don't have nostalgia for it, because if you're listening to it just objectively, and not that good. Not that good, Curtis. Like
Yeah.
my first listen through, I really didn't care for it. I listened to the um original
Mm.
recording, and then the second time I listened to the remaster, it was just like I don't know. I didn't hate it as much the second time, but I also found myself being like, yeah, but I know I don't like this. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much you really could have done with this. A band like this is, we might have said something similar one of the last couple episodes, but a band like this is for building up a couple of members to go on and do some really good stuff.
Which is
You
what we
know,
got.
the two or three of you guys get the hell out of there and never play music again.
Oh,
But you know, two or three of the guys in your band, like if you can spawn at least one or two really great bands from that, like worth it.
right.
But
Well, we get one great band out of this, Josh.
yeah, I
One
love that
totally great band.
they go in together. Like that's even better.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
There's
Uh,
not
good.
anything like inherently bad about it either. It's just like
It's a
so
first,
underwhelming.
right. But it's like you're saying, it's like, it's a first album in the early 2000s. It's, it just is what it is, you know?
Right, but if that's all you've got, then it's like it leaves me in this place where you don't know how to feel about it. Because if a band has seven albums and the first two suck, and then they hit a run of like four good ones, and
Right.
even the last one sucks, then I have a lot more to go off of, you
Right.
know? When it's a one and done, and then it's this caliber, you're just kind of like, ah, what do I do with this?
Yeah. But we've talked about it before of there are bands that they have that place in the history where it's like you're just good enough. Well, it's not good enough, but it's a deal of you're only meant for this one album because this is just a stepping stone, for
Yeah,
the next big thing, you know.
yeah,
And that's why I like to look at some of these bands that end up coming before the bigger bands that we know, like a Between the Buried and Me.
Mhm.
Me personally, I like to see the history of what other bands are you guys in, or whatever. Let me go listen to it. I don't expect it to be good, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously, because like you didn't stick around with that band, you went on and do something totally else,
And
But
also, they called it black metal. I mean, I think it's really just like the kind of galloping riffs and his vocals.
mm.
But I won't hear you say you're black metal if there's no synth. I won't hear of it.
I won't hear of it, man.
No, won't hear of
Yeah.
it.
His some of his vocals at times made me think of like when I was in a band, I was like, oh, that kind of sounded like me. And I wasn't a big fan of my vocals. I was like, but who is a
Uh,
fan of their own
you,
vocals,
I know who he reminds me of. It's me.
Me. Yeah,
Now I'm
exactly.
sure of it, darling. I hate him.
Oh man. Dennis Lamb on guitar would be replaced for a short time by James Chang from the band Undying, who would then be replaced by also future Between the Buried and Me vocalist Tommy Rogers. Nice. Getting the gang together here. While on tour in support of their debut album, the band's future would be thrown for a loop as a fateful automobile accident involving their van would leave the band without transportation. With no van to tour and with the members barely making it day to day financially, the group was forced to cut their losses and break up. But, like we talked about before, Josh, out of the ashes of one band, breaking up forms the beginnings of a brand new one that would become a force in the metal scene known as Between the Buried and Me, as the inception of this new band would include Prayer for Cleansing members Tommy Rogers, Paul Wagner, Mark Duncan, and Will Goodyear.
Oh my God. It's like the whole band. There was like one
Yeah.
guy that they were just like, yeah, you're not coming.
You're out. While off working on other projects, Prayer for Cleansing's one album, or one full-length album, was starting to gain a lot of attention, mainly, like I said, on the Eastern Coast, probably. Uh, so much so that in 2003, Tribunal Records would commission a remastered remix version of the album. And after releasing two full length albums in between The Buried and Me, former members Tommy Rogers and Paul Wagner would reunite with former members Will Goodyear and David Anthem, while along with former member James Chang to play two reunion shows, one at Hellfest '04, the other at Trenton Music Hall in Charlotte, North Carolina, which gathered, to the surprise of the band, nearly 1,000 fans, some coming, Josh, as far away as Mexico. Nice, committed. This response led the group to record a short three-song EP, which was entitled The Tragedy EP, which would be produced by Jamie King and featured three songs which were re-recordings of previously unreleased material, including a The Cranberries cover, Salvation, which the band found was very popular at their live shows. I, I don't know if I've ever heard Salvation by Cranberries. Have you?
Um,
Oh, excuse me. The Cranberries! The Cranberries!
I know the name of the song, but I cannot think of like one of the lines.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, okay,
Uh,
I was gonna say though, there's something about like when you're at a show and they start playing some random song that like this is not the same. Like this is not a cover. But I remember at old shows all the time, they like a band would be playing or something, and then they would stop for just a sec so that they could do like sound check, so they could like, double check something.
whatever. Yeah.
And for like, 30 seconds, they'd start playing It's Getting Hot in Here by Nelly,
Right. Yeah.
or like something like that. And like, yeah, people always lose their shit. I think you're just like in that mindset of like, you're just generally having a good time. And
Right.
anything musically that pops up, you're just like, yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Um,
Uh, go ahead.
you go ahead. You go ahead.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say something. Were you gonna say something? 'Cause I'm dying to hear what you're gonna say. I know you want to say something. Talk to me. Don't look away from me. Well, what I was gonna say, I was really wanting you to pay attention to, but you're obviously looking at something else. So yeah.
No, I'm listening to you.
Oh, okay. Are you looking up that song?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Do you recognize it?
Yeah. It was 96. It was off of To the Faithful and the Departed. That's the one where they're all wearing purple and it's like a yellow room.
Oh, okay.
I
Hmm.
think you'd probably recognize it if you heard it. It's not one of their biggest songs, but I do think you would recognize it if you heard it.
The whoops. The Cranberries. Linger Sunday. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. What the heck? What the?
Salvation, salvation.
Ooh, if that's how it goes, I don't recognize that. Mm,
Baal Nam Blat, Baal Nam Blat,
no, I don't recognize that one. Hmm.
Liebe Dirt,
Anyway,
Charles Repton.
after the CP was released, fans might have taken it to be a sign that the band was might be making a go of it, Josh.
Fucking done.
No, no. They thought, oh, we gonna get more music? But it was not to be for good reason, as guitarist Paul Wagner later said in a 2009 interview, quote, listen to this, Josh, because this is what we're talking about. The last, I don't know, several episodes. This is what we're talking about right here. Quote, I guess that the band had sort of run its course. Some of the guys were in school and we didn't really see it going anywhere. At the same time, we also wanted to start something different and try to push ourselves a little more musically, which would be Between the Buried and Me. I wouldn't say we were bored with what we were doing, but that was around the time when metalcore was starting to sort of take off and bands were kind of coming out of the woodwork. We no longer felt like we were doing something different or creative. A band, Josh, that knows when to quit and move on to something else. How many
Thank
bands
God.
over
Thank
the
God.
last, yeah, how many bands over the last year have we talked about that were just like, yeah, let's do another album? It's like, no, for the love of God, just do something else, man. You want to go make another album, go do it over there in another group, you know?
I think it's
Uh,
desperation a lot of the time, man.
I think so too. Well,
Like,
and you always talk about you've talked about before about like, well, I don't want to like a band doesn't want to start over because it's like, well, I don't want to lose my fan base that I already have, all these fans that I've garnered. It's like, uh, I'm the opposite. It's like I would rather start over and build a fan base up again, knowing that these people are going to realize it's like this is going to be different. Whereas if I stayed with the same band and things are changing and it's like, oh, I don't want to lose my fan base, I'm probably more than likely going to lose half of them because they're going to be pissed off that I changed the sound, you know? So that's how I feel about it.
right. I get that. It's just, it's the thought of,
You already
you
have a
know,
foundation.
yeah, let's say,
But I feel like you're still going to have somewhat of a foundation if you say, "Hey, this is dead, but if you want to, come check us out over here too." I'm not going to touch that anymore. I'm going to leave that be and we left it in good order. Just leave it there. Come over here now and listen to this. If you don't like it, whatever, cool. You can go back to the old thing. But it's like I don't want to. I don't want to ruin or tarnish that reputation of the old thing. You know.
yeah, it's just in a sea, like a never-ending sea of new bands.
Mm,
It's like, how do you were probably lucky enough to have the success that you had the first time.
right.
It's just, yeah, it's a tough
It
thing.
just my thing is you just promote from that. Like if you got social media pages for that band, like you just promote from that to that. You know. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, there's different ways to do it. I understand what you're saying too, but I would rather. I mean, I'm not. I wouldn't go into it thinking, "Oh,
I mean,
I'm gonna be successful again." You know?
I'm with you. Like that's the side of this I've been on. But
Yeah,
I just, yeah, from the other side of it, I'm like, I get why it happens because
yeah,
it's, you know, I think in a lot of those guys' minds, like we might not, yeah, we might not catch fire like we did before.
right. The other thing to take in consideration when they released that last EP in '04, Between the Buried and Me had already put out two full length albums. One of them, the latter, being Silent Circus, and it was well received. And by that time, you're already signed to Victory Records. So it's like, yeah, we're not going back. So
Yeah.
we got a good thing going over here. But since the breakup members have gone on to join and start other bands, besides Between the Buried and Me, like Undying, From Here On, and Azazel. In recent news, the band has announced several one-off reunion shows starting in 2002 or 2012, excuse me, with a benefit concert featuring the Rain and Endless Fall lineup. They would also play This Is Hardcore Festival in Philadelphia, PA in 2023. And Josh, what does the future hold? I think we got our answer from that quote. There is no future. I mean, I feel like if anything, it's like they
What does the future hold for this band that put out one album 21 years ago?
yeah, but I think what it is uh I'm not asking you the question. I'm telling you what it
I
is.
know, I was like, nothing.
Yeah, but let me answer it. Okay. I think what ends up happening is they recognize like we're not going back, but we understand that there's still like a demand for what we had put out. So we'll just do little off shows here and there, which is fine. I have no problem with that, you know.
Yeah.
So if you got a little bit of a demand for it, I mean, why not? But
Cash grab.
yeah. Yeah, cash grab or no cash. Final thoughts, Josh, on the band known as Prayer for Cleansing.
Well, let me first say, I don't think cash grab for them because you said that it's all like benefit stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's all giving the money away. What do I think about this band? Not super great. I'm glad that they went on to become Between the Buried and Me because there's like a lot of good elements of this, but
Mhm.
it just didn't really come together and they didn't have time to make it come together with another two or three albums.
Yeah,
So, yeah. I mean, in a case like this, you're just glad that you got a band like Between the Buried and Me.
I agree. All righty, let's get on out of here. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at is Survive by Pro for news and the latest episode postings. Not just on the show, but we have our other shows as well. We have the History of the Cores After Hours podcast, where I sit down with my good friend and avid listener, Eric, talk about some of the bands me and Josh have already covered. We also have the Red Right Hand podcast, which has covered all 6 seasons, soon to be a movie of Peaky Blinders. And you also have the Throne of the Dragon podcast, which has covered season one and now season two of HBO's House of the Dragon. Sooner or later, season three and season four.
Curtis, if I may, um, you guys are probably wondering what's going on. What's going on with these episodes we've been getting where it just seems like there there's not as much with these bands. We're talking a lot of bands that are just one-offs and seems like our attention is devoted elsewhere. Well, let me tell you, you got to join us over on the Throne of the Dragon podcast because that is where we have been focused for the last 9 weeks. So make sure you're joining us over there. That's where all the heart and soul for this company is being put for the last 8 weeks.
Well, I
Don't
mean, it's
fret.
that 8 weeks are over, so
Yeah. Don't fret. You got I want the Fallout Boy episode. I want the Jimmy Eat World episode. Too bad.
it's
Probably
James.
won't ever
James.
do those. Jimothy ate the world. Um,
Jimothy.
we'll be back
Jimothy.
to doing
Oh
some more
God.
bands that people know and are a little bit more familiar with, and then some of our, I know you love the 4 and 5 part episodes, so
Jeez Louise, yeah, they're coming.
definitely be back
It's
with some of
coming.
those for you. But definitely make
Yeah.
sure and join us over on Throne of the Dragon. We are having a great time. Then you don't have to miss out on
Yeah.
the conversations with your friends. They're like, "What dragon's your favorite?" And you're like, "I don't know, Toothless." And they're like, "That's a Disney movie. What are you doing?"
Puff? I like Puff.
Toothless is way more iconic than Puff.
Did he have a song written about him?
No.
Didn't think so. Also, while you're on Twitter, make sure to follow my co-host. Josh is always wrong. At Joshua Lynn Gary. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review. Hashtag Josh is always wrong. And write us a comment on whatever podcast service you're using. And if you want to listen to us see our smiling faces, head on over to our YouTube page. Just search Survived by Productions, and that'll have every episode from all of our shows. Subscribe to the channel. Thumbs up the video.
Should we Crazy Eyes Cold It on our way out?
It's only gonna play on YouTube. Yeah. You can just, I can feel it on the podcast side. I can just feel it coming through my ears. Alrighty, until the next episode, we'll see you.